What's going on, my creative collective? Welcome to your daily creative reading for this will be for August 3rd. I lost my days a little bit. I went on an amazing hike today, and I definitely took a spectacular fall, but it was still an excellent hike nonetheless. Yeah, so we're going to hop right on in. Okay, let's see. Let's see where the day goes, my friends. Let's take a boo, I guess. Take a boo. Okay, so we have Hope Floats, and then we also have Celebrate Life. Okay, so Hope Floats. Dearest you, let us ask you, are you looking for happiness outside of your everyday, moment to moment experience, thinking you'll find happiness out there someday? So many go chasing a magic it out there, but it could never be found out there. So we want to share a secret that shouldn't be a secret. You are pure joy. What made you is pure joy, and every time you wake up, and even when you sleep, you have joy waiting to be expressed inside you. Joy and happiness and fullness come from doing joy, being joy, knowing it, cultivating it, and lighting it in your heart so you can share it. You must know this so when the time comes, you will fully be free, and your joyful being and actions will turn you into a beacon of starlight. Look within and be joyful, even for tears and loss, for they mean you have lived, really lived. Jump into it all and love every minute. We all love you like crazy over here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so there's a little bit of, like, just this embodying joy and play with my South Node in Libra in the fifth house. I kind of know how to do that really well. usually, the overthinking Gemini mind does kick in from time to time. That's my rising. But yeah, I'm getting this call to joy, right? And call to joy just meaning, what does joy mean to you in the everyday, and how do you cultivate a leaning towards it in a way that frees you, not from where you are or feeling anything other than, this sense of groundedness with where you stand, right? I think it's really about finding joy no matter what, right? Because I feel like people will trigger you, people will push buttons, they'll do all the stuff, all the things, but it's more about you than it is them, right? And that's where the joy comes in. That's where the joy comes in, because you have more power than you might think. You have more power than you might think. So Three of Pentacles and High Priestess. So the Three of Pentacles kind of, it's almost like, okay, so I'm going to keep pulling, but I get this impression that there's like this creative foundation that you're building that's really like your intuition's informing it all. There's something that you're working on behind the scenes, possibly, like, or your intuition's working behind the scenes while you do this and build this sort of foundation for yourself, a project that you're working on, work that you're deepening into. Yeah, and then so we have Sagittarian energy. Let's see the call to adventure here on this hero's spread for the day. Hero's journey, Queen of Wands. Judgment, Eight of Wands, Ten of Cups. Interesting. I think this call to adventure is really, like, it's very fiery Sagittarian energy, right? Like, you've got Temperance and the Queen of Wands. This is like, it's really leaning into what fires you up. It's like nurturing your inner fire. Nurturing your inner fire on the path. Knight of Pentacles. Emperor. I think that this is telling me that there's something about pace. Like, you've got to make decisions about pace. It's almost like you're looking outside of yourself, expecting something to go quickly or to change, but it's coming from within you. Like, the Emperor is like you in your power. It's you in your power. Page of Cups, Queen of Swords. So yeah, so this, it's almost, I'm hearing like Judgment Day. Like you could be having a moment, like a, come to Jesus moment with something. With this, could become a tower if it goes unchecked. This Judgment card strikes me as, this card really strikes me as something that, it's like there's, it's like, it's almost like it's very apropos of Leo's season and the Leo new moon, but I'm hearing Lionsgate, so it could be to do with August 8th, but it's like this decision that frees you, like it unlocks a core part of your being, like it frees you up completely. It releases you is what it does. You could be feeling a sense of release, maybe even relief, right? And the thing that could become a tower is if you don't do this, that's where your happiness becomes this antagonist position. And that sounds like so intense, like call Judgment Day on something, no big deal. But it's like a small, there's something about this decision that seems small, but when things start to really pick up, they really pick up. Like they really start to pick up. Eight of Wands. It could also be travel. You could be traveling. In your protagonist position, there could be things that, come up from traveling or with that. And I know like tons of leaders are doing retreats right now, which is amazing to see because of the pandemic kind of slowing down travel. So that could be something that you're experiencing while you're abroad. I mean, even if you're not, this is also communication coming in. So like you're possibly getting a lot of downloads or messages coming to you, and just messages from spirit. But I say that because I feel like there's something about that's like, I'm hearing inspirited, like inspired, inspiring, but like it's like spirit in you, right? Inspirited. That it's like it's freeing you. It's freeing you up. It's freeing your energy up. And I think that the challenge here you could be facing, the challenge that you could face or feel, you might feel like things aren't going fast enough, or the details, like the process might have it might have just kind of, I'm hearing grinds your gears. Yeah. It could be that to an extent. I don't even remember where that phrase is from, and it has been years since I've heard that. So, just for somebody, but it could just like, it's like, it makes you feel like less of a well-oiled and methodical person. Like, it's just like, the method is missing in this, right? And it's not that the method is missing in this. Interesting. I was going to say it's not that the method is missing, but the speed that you're used to, or the control that you're used to. Like there's something just outside your grasp, but the Emperor being in the overcoming, I think that the outside your grasp is where it's like this weird kind of Eight of Wands movement is here, but in the protagonist position, and your happiness is in the antagonist position. So it's like if you avoid making decisions, it really goes against your happiness. But there's also a choice, I think, here to be seen. I think Judgment is reflecting this, this Judgment is sort of the major arcana reflection of the minor, in it, that it's like I think the Six of Cups and the Nine of Cups. So it's like it reflects a sense of happiness and peace, right? And this looking back, and it's like you're freeing this aspect of yourself. The challenge being the Knight of Pentacles tells me, it tells me that there's something that this could be an earth sign that is a challenge, but I don't tend to read people in the cards like that as much. I think it's more just the process, right? It's more the process. And I think too that the way I'm seeing this embodied in like all of the earth signs, that as the challenge, not people, but just aspects of them, right? Virgo, it has this beautiful intuitive discernment, right? Taurus energy I found to be this intuitive sensuality, and Capricorn has this like absolutely wonderful intuitive understanding of method and process, and appreciation cuts through all of these things. But it's like that's the Coles notes, at least. But it's like that is where you're finding, it's almost like things get easier when they feel more challenging, which is a really interesting feeling here. Things feel easier in a way because you're rising up as the emperor here, which is like, the lessons of all of the kings, right? And it's also just like this sense of command of your environment. Um this command over your environment. And I'm getting the impression that you are, I don't think that you're really looking back. Like that's, like look at all of these things. Like it's almost like seeds that you've planted that you're just like, it's fine. And you're leaving it, right? Um, you're leaving it in one sense. This could also just be the challenge is seeing your value and worth in terms of what you leave behind. Like I think about like when people say, how do you want to leave a room better than when you found it or what, right? Like what does that feel like and look like in the way that you behave, in the way that you act, right? So understanding those things. And it's almost like that's like the value. Like there's, I think the challenge may also be something about pace, but I think the pace is like it's helping you to see your value. It's helping you to see your worth and the worthiness that you have in here, right? It's the worthiness piece. It's the worthiness piece because the overcoming is you in this beautiful Aries energy, right? This beautiful fiery Aries energy. I think about my friend. um, so a group of us. So I think I'm telling this story because it's just it's like this sort of panache for getting things done, but then also this amazing way of navigating just and navigating energies, but also exceptional boundaries. Like there's so many things that go with this, but for some reason the cake that she got for Charlie Day on the weekend and for other people. So there were 3 Leos that were celebrating their birthday. So it was like Charlie Day, and then the week before that, someone had their birthday, and then the week after that, there were 2 birthdays on each end of the week. So she got a cake. I'll see if I can edit it and put it here. But that's really like she called the place to get them to put that. She said that she called several places. I was like, oh, good. And I think something along those lines and asked them like, would you put an obscenity on a cake? But it's just that sort of like no hesitation, loving on people hard. And it's also, I think, this way because you're coming into your own, you're better able to see not just your worth and value, but you're able to see, because these are all like pentacles, these are all aspects of yourself that you leave behind with others. And you're, I think, better able to see that and to understand the value of that and the value of what effort you put into what you leave behind, right? So it's like you're understanding all of this in a much clearer way. I think the challenge was seeing it, and that's where it could be this Aries energy that is sort of standing in your own power, but I think it's understanding that you're empowered because of all of the ways that you see you clearly, right? It's not something that's going to come from outside of you. That's where I made the Course in Creativity video yesterday, where it's like opportunity isn't going to pass you by, right? Like things aren't going to just show up and then disappear. And it's definitely like a lack mentality. Not to say that's not meant to sound judgmental or anything along those lines, but just to say that like, if you like, you exist beyond being convenient for somebody else. You exist beyond all of those things. So don't forget your magnitude, right? Don't forget the loveliness that you possess inherently. And that's also like it's also about the it's also about these pentacles that you're leaving behind, right? And it's like you have extra, so you don't mind doing it. But I think that this is the challenge here might be just being cautious of, where and how you share your energy, because boundaries might be needed, right? Boundaries might be needed. And I think this Page of Cups kind of represents how much more of your heart is open when you don't have to be on the lookout for boundaries, when you don't have to be on the lookout for things anymore, right? Like it's like you're on the lookout, right? But in a different relationship to yourself. And that's where it's like, it almost feels like this weight is lifted. I'm hearing there's a song that has the lyrics, now the weight's been lifted, something like that. Or now the weight is lifted. But I feel ultimately like this is just an energy to me of freedom, like freed up energy in your heart center, right? You don't have to be we don't have to be anything, but it's just this sense of like on the lookout, right? Because then it's like the Queen of Swords is also on the lookout, but in a different way, right? Like this is that fun loving, playful energy that you can be in. And it sort of integrates into this beautiful wisdom, right? The Queen of Swords can be somewhat cold, but I think that more importantly here, it's like this is an energy of freedom, right? This is an energy of freedom to not just express yourself, but freedom to, I guess, see clearly. Like this is um, the way that this is coming in is that you're able to process things with much greater clarity, right? And I think that a lot of this is informed by your intuition working in the background because the cards came out like this and the High Priestess is below. So it's almost like your intuition's working in the background here to communicate with you. And this could be you collaborating with greater depth with your intuition. Like it's around a lot. So it's quite loud. It's quite loud. And I think that it could be allowing this sort of inward facing temperance expansion, right? Balance, but also this Jupiter expanding energy where it's like you're able to you're feeling more inspired, but what it's leading to through this hero's journey is you getting to a place where you recognize, okay, I have to, it's like seeing things much clearer, right? Queen of Swords is not just, it can be read in so many different ways, but the way it's coming through here is that you see what needs to be done, right? Knight of Pentacles is also, it's like this process energy, right? Mark your progress, not your perfection. So it's like looking at things and saying, okay, this is the thing that needs to happen. This is, I need to do this and this and this. And it's not even just making a plan or a checklist. It's also about understanding how your boundaries fit into that as well, right? How do your boundaries fill up the container? I'm seeing a vase with rocks in it, and like your boundaries are the water that fills up the container, and the rocks are sort of things that you have to take out, right? The rocks are the barriers that you have to take out. So it can be challenging to articulate those boundaries when that's the case. So it's almost like just looking for the little boulders, looking for the little rocks. And I feel like piece by piece, you're getting there, right? Piece by piece. That's a song by Kelly Clarkson. It's quite sad, but well, liberating at the same time. But she had said in an interview after she had like a couple of years after she performed it or whatnot, but I think it was more recent too. She talked about this, but she said, I could never, being a parent now, she said, I can't imagine putting that much on, like my child putting that much on me. Like there's so much more to it, right? So it was this beautiful sense of forgiveness that she had too. Beautiful forgiveness. But what I'm seeing ultimately here is that you're in a better position to advocate for yourself. And it's not just about knowing what you want. It's being unafraid to go for it. And remember, like the swords they represent the mind, right? So the reason why I think your antagonist is your happiness right now is because there's something to do with your thought patterns and the way that you're seeing situations. And I think once you get into a place of, when the Knight of Pentacles is kind of a unique challenge because it's at once pace and momentum, but it's also a way. It's like a modality, right? So it's the pace of something slower, but the modality is detailed. It's anchored in things that you're valuing, but also things that are really deeply important to you. So how are those then being translated into this beautiful emperor position, right? How are those coming up in your boundaries? How are they coming up in your sense of self? That's really the energy here that I'm getting. So let's clarify a little bit. I feel like it's pretty clear already, but why not, right? Why not? Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives for August 3rd? It's beautiful new month energy. It's fresh vibes. I feel like, yeah. It felt kind of weird to talk about the telepathy stuff that's starting to come through. And I don't know, yesterday, and I was like, ooh, that's vulnerable making. I'm like, so like it's fine. And honestly, like a lot of it is accidental and it's not even, there's no intentionality to it. It just comes through and then I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense after the fact because it's just so interesting. But there could be different gifts that you have that you're unlocking. Could be different gifts that you're unlocking. Um, yeah. And honestly, I feel like Aries is like an underrated gift, which sounds horrible. Not to piss any Aries off. I have enough of it in my chart and enough Aries friends that like I might get a text message after this. But it's not like that. It's just like the energy of Aries is such a gift, but it's one that we don't often talk about. You know, it's just so it's such a beautifully anchored energy in your sense of self, right? I know for myself, I've struggled with some codependence and stuff like that before, and so for me, it's been difficult to articulate myself in that Aries way of like this is how it's gonna go, and like I'm a fixed sign in terms of Aquarius, so I know I can be stubborn, but there's something here about like, and people say that Aries can be quite stubborn, and that's I've experienced that too, but I think that what I like about this energy here is that it's like you're teaching yourself how to fly. Like you're teaching yourself how to fly. There's a lot of wings here, right? Like wings. Um, could be Archangel Michael. I had a really intense experience with Archangel Michael this morning. In like it was in like a lucid dream state, but more to the flying. Yeah, I was feeling quite drained, and I felt like there was this like invasiveness in my energy, and I couldn't pinpoint what. And I'd been drained for several weeks, like it was quite exhausting. And I was like, okay, well, I'm taking ownership for this and trying to place things. What is going on here? And then it felt like something had started to lift yesterday, and for that I was quite grateful. But what ended up happening was I had asked Archangel Michael. So I'm sharing it because it could be a sign that you might need to like clear some energy or things like that. And I feel like I asked Archangel Michael to help to clear any energy. But it felt less like it felt like it was, I don't know, it felt like Archangel Michael was descending in, it was just really, it was much easier. Like it wasn't this like intention setting or anything like that. It was just like a welcoming in, and asking to clear the energy, but then also to clear the places where, cords connected to me. And I had this beautiful, like I was surrounded in this blue shimmering bubble, and I felt this, like it felt like energy was releasing. It felt like clarity. It felt like my energy was coming back to me. But then I also saw these like cords that were attached to different energy centers. It was my root, my solar, and my heart, and it was just like they were like pulling, like taut, like so that if those pulled, the whole of me was like pulling forward. So in that clearing, the cords released, and it just, I could see them being sent back or off or whatever. And then I saw these like sutures being stitched by the angel, where those cords had attached, and like the healing light was like, it was very there. And I will tell you that almost immediately my energy came back in spades. Like I went on a 6K hike, I did groceries, I put together a list of next steps I need to take for something, and just like looking at different options for myself, with things that felt stuck before. Like it was so much clarity. And all of this to say, this isn't to say that any cords have power over you, because they don't. I fully and 100% believe that Christina Lopes was right, when talking about how, if empaths can say like, is this energy mine? And it's like, if it lands in your system, it's now yours. Yes. And you feel it in that way. The goal is to transmute it and ground it out and to release it, right? It's not to look and blame others. Take it, release it, do what you need to do with it, because it's otherwise we stoke this fear, we stoke this, it's so, it can be a place of, it can be to our detriment to be in any kind of other energy. So it's almost like, maybe working with Archangel Michael, it might be helpful, or useful. Very powerful blue flame energy. Yeah. And I don't necessarily know how I feel about twin flame stuff. I have ideas and like all of that stuff, but Archangel Michael tends to be is seen as the twin flame angel, and that's totally cool and fine, and super important too, because I think that if anything, I think that twin flames have a role here on the planet to help with energy and all of that. But all of this to say, don't hesitate when you start to feel things coming to you in lucid states. I found it really important just to lean into that, to lean into the power of that and let it take you where it needs to take you. I wasn't in control of that meditation this morning. I just set the intention and asked. And sometimes that's all that it takes, is just asking angels, asking spirit, and they take care of the rest, right? So don't be afraid to set intentions, because your energy is very valuable and very precious, right? So, yeah. Okay. I'm only supposed to pull 2 cards. Temperance. 2. Did you see that? That's funny. That's the 2. 10 of Pentacles, which you can't see coming on the bottom. Knight of Pentacles and the Sun. Wow. Okay, so... King of Pentacles and the Sun. Okay, I'm going to put those down just as like a side here. But, so we have Temperance, the Knight of Wands. Why am I saying Knight of Wands? So we have Temperance that came out, as well as the Knight of Swords, and also the Ace of Cups, which it's this beautiful opening, like this opening. It's an opening inside of you. And the reason why I see this Ace of Cups as almost being where it's like you come back to life. Something about you is like revitalized, rejuvenated. Maybe that's, I don't know, like thinking about what happened with my energy, but I think there's a depth of recognition here. There's something that comes back into balance. And I think the thing to focus on is the balance. And there's like there's an alchemy to perhaps tears. Like there's an alchemy to things that you maybe thought didn't serve you, right? That's where this Knight of Pentacles can be the challenge, where it's like it's something about the pace didn't serve you, or there was something that needed to come back into balance about pace, because the Knight of Swords is here and just charges in, right? And this isn't necessarily a charging into anyone's detriment or anything like that, but I feel like this is an energy of pace. This is an energy of... I'm hearing self-support, and that's like, it's like you can give yourself momentum. Sassy Scorpion Tarot talked about this, and I was like, holy shit, that's an excellent read of Aries, and just the way it shows up in my North Node and Mars, but that like Aries can recycle their own energy. And I was like, oh, that's excellent. But it's like, that's kind of what I'm seeing here. It's like you're recycling your energy. It's very Aries energy in here. The Aries here is loud. The fire is, generally speaking, because we have a few more wands, and then we have Sag and the Emperor. And then I got a hint of Leo on this Judgment card, where it's like being seen, right? So it was more the Leo new moon, but there's a heavy dose of fire. And I feel like that's sort of what you're doing, is you're creating your own momentum forward, your own movement forward. You're doing that for yourself. And I feel like it's like you are filling your own cup. And that's a beautiful capture of this energy, is like you're filling your own cup. You're absolutely filling your own cup. And I think that it's like, it's not only bringing joy, but it's possibly bringing in this really grounded earth energy. It doesn't necessarily need to be an earth sign per se with the Knight of Pentacles, or the Knight of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles. But I do see it as, it could be a boss too. Like this could be work related. But I see this more as just a recognition of value, right? And we have the foundation building card with the 3 of Pentacles here. So I see this too as, it's sort of like there's a foundation that's being built here, where you're not just happy, but like you're fulfilled. Like there's something bigger about this happiness. There's something deeper about it. It's not just like a run-of-the-mill kind of thing. It's like there's something much deeper to this that is really, really powerful. And it's not just powerful in terms of like it's going to change anything, but it's like, I feel like it's, I don't know. And I think it's what you want it to do and the intention that you set around it. So let me just pull from this deck here. Okay, Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives for August 3rd, please? I commit to being more present in my life. I feel like that's something we could all use, right? So if something seems to be missing in your life, maybe what's missing is you, Aries. Oh my goodness. Maybe what's missing is you. Complete this sentence. One way I can be more present in my life is wow. Okay, so that one way I can be more present in my life is dot dot dot. Wow, that's incredible. Okay, now let's take a look here. So we have celebrate life on the back. Dearest wonderful you, to help you manifest a life for the highest good, we invite you to examine your deepest desires. Imagine all your desires, no matter what kind, like magic seed pods in a basket, glowing with infinite potential. Look closely at each one. Are you afraid that some may bring you too much attention and invite negative reactions from others? So I'm going to read that one more time because I think it's important. Imagine all your desires, no matter what kind, like magic seed pods in a basket, glowing with infinite potential. Look closely at each one. Are you afraid that some may bring you too much attention and invite negative reactions from others? Is change too daunting? Are you afraid to stretch and grow? Let yourself be led forward and let the seeds of positive intention take to the wind. Yeah, intention's really important here too. Wow. Okay. Your desires count and you are worthy of them. They are essential for co-creating your world. Did you ever consider, I'm getting this on the Knight of Pentacles. I don't know why. I'm going to hold it up while I read it, but think about this in terms of what you value and what's important, okay? Your desires count and you are worthy of them. They are essential for co-creating your world. Did you ever consider that when a desire comes from deep within you, it might be spirit moving you to create something beautiful to share with others? Some desires are infused with miraculous powers to move the heart and influence the world in ways you can't possibly know. We know you and love you so deeply and are so happy to support you. Yeah. And that's really it. Like that's that pure joy right from the beginning, right? The first card is this, like, maybe what you're moved by is because you are going to create something that can change someone's life, right? Like that's, I've said it before of many readers on YouTube. It's just like when I was transitioning and going through the hard stuff of making the choice to do that, a lot of readers have probably no idea that turning to their readings and stuff like that initially was, it really kind of got me through a lot, because in some of the readings I would hear things that were absolutely from spirit, and they were these recognitions of the light, they were recognitions of the beauty, they were recognitions of my own light, right? So it's just it's understanding that it doesn't matter what you're called to create in the world. You're making something beautiful with value because you're doing it. It's you. It's coming from you. 3233. Sorry, I have this new screen protector that kind of is for security stuff, but it like blocks out specific aspects of the screen. So when it's at like an angle, it's like one of those fancy tempered glass things, and it's still weird to me. But anyway, so that is your reading, my daily creatives, for August 3rd. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this resonated, give it a like. But more than that, I hope you have a fantastic day, right? I hope you have a fantastic day. And, as usual, wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, I hope it finds you very, very well. Take care, my friends. And yeah, just have a fantastic day. Yeah.